Okay, so for my final source, it is Open Society Foundation's The Value of Inclusive Education. Around the world, this is by, um, there's no name. Okay, I'll figure that out. It will be in the cited page. Around the world, children are excluded from schools where they belong because of disability, race, religion, gender, and poverty. But every child has the right to be supported by their parents and community to grow, learn, and develop in the early years and upon reaching school age, to go to school and be welcomed and included by teachers and peers alike. When all children, regardless of their differences, are educated together, everyone benefits. This is a cornerstone of inclusive education. What is an inclusive education? Inclusive education meets different and diverse students learning side by side in the same classroom. They enjoy field trips and after school activities together. They participate in student government together, and they attend the same sports meets and plays. Inclusive education values diversity and the unique contributions each student brings to the classroom. In a truly inclusive setting, every child feels safe and has a sense of belonging. Students and their parents participate in setting learning goals and taking part in decisions that affect them. And school staff have training, support, flexibility, and resources to nurture, encourage, and respond to the needs of all students. Why is inclusive education important? Inclusive systems provide a better quality for education for all children and are instrumental for changing discriminatory attitudes. School provides the context for a child's first relationship with the world outside their families, enabling the development of social relationships and interactions. Respect and understanding grow when students of diverse abilities and background play, socialize, and learn together. Education that excludes and segregates perpetuates discrimination against traditionally marginalized groups. When education is more inclusive, so are concepts of civic participation, employment, and community life. Is it better to separate children who need specialized attention? Separate special education provides no guarantee for success for children who need special attention. Inclusive schools that provide supportive, context appropriate conditions for learning demonstrate far better outcomes. Extracurricular activities, peer support, or more specialized interventions involve the entire school community working as a team. What are the basic elements of school education? Using a teaching assistant or specialist. The staff has the potential to be inclusive or divisive. For instance, a specialist who teaches teachers to address the needs of all students is working inclusively. A specialist who pulls students out of class to work with them individually on a regular basis is not. Inclusive curriculum. An inclusive curriculum includes locally relevant themes and contributions by marginalized and minority groups. It avoids binary narratives of good and bad and allowing adapting the curriculum to the learning styles of children with special education needs. Parental involvement. Most schools strive for some level of parental involvement, but it is often limited to emails home and occasional parent-teacher conferences. In diverse school system, inclusion means thinking of multiple ways to teach out to parents on their own terms. How can we advance special education? To make inclusive education a reality, we need to do the following. Ensure that educators have the training, flexibility, and resources to teach students with diverse needs and learning styles. Ensure that kindergartners and schools receive inadequate and sustainable financial support, that all activities and services are fully inclusive. Empowers parents to assert their children's right of education in inclusive settings. Enable the entire community, including mainstream and special educators, social workers, parents, and students to work together and participate in the design and delivery and monitoring of education. Therefore, reframing inclusive education as a shared responsibility, hold government accountable for implementing anti-discrimination legislation, legal mandates for inclusion, and policies to remove barriers. Is inclusive education expensive? Making education is not a cost-cutting measure. Governments have prepared to invest substantial resources at the outset of the system reform, such as teacher and staff training, improving infrastructure, learning materials and equipment, and revising curricular and implement inclusive education successfully. How? Eliminating the redundancy and high cost of running parallel systems, such as investments, are efficient and effective use of funds, and hold the potential to improve education for all students. Funding mechanism must be reformed so that students that enroll students with special needs receive the necessary financial resources. When students move from special schools to mainstream schools, the funding should also follow. How do Open Society Foundation support special inclusion? We promote changes of policy and practices in a variety of ways, which includes the following: advocate for the recognition of children legal rights, such as supporting organizations of parents with children with special needs and disabilities in Armenia. Fund empirical research, including support for an organization of young people with disabilities in Uganda that is documenting barriers to education. Support sustainable network services like networking, learning opportunities for schools and NGOs such as teacher association and parent groups. Civil society groups that give young people, parents, and educators a voice, including parent-led organizations advocating the rights of inclusion for children with disabilities in Tajikistan. Engage with civil society and other actors in policy development by, for instance, providing technical support to the development of key inclusive education related laws, policies, and strategies at the national level. Support governments and system services to pilot models to successful inclusive education provision that could scaled up and replicated. That's it.